Alright, what's up guys? C-Brev again, doing another coaching video. As always, if you would like to be coached by me for MLB The Show 19, make a Twitter, at me there, so you can say that you want coaching or whatever, and then we can talk in messages. Basically, you're going to want to upload a private YouTube video of one of your games, and then I can break it down for you. So, today, we are coaching Yotam Horowitz. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Yotam. You'll see it in the gamer tag, but he said he's made World Series twice, and his goal is to hit 1,000 rating at some point. He feels like he's a pretty good pitcher. He struggles to hit, and then he would like some help tracking pitches. He also uses a monitor and control freak. So, Mr. Yotam, this is actually going to be a pretty quick video, but that's good news for you because there's a lot of things that you do really well. We're not going to sit here and watch the whole game at 2x speed because you played pretty well for most of it. I want to talk about the good things that you did, and I think this is going to be a very, very helpful video for you because there's one gigantic thing that I think is hurting you a lot that you could fix overnight or within a week even, and it's going to make you an infinitely better hitter. So we'll go through this screen just to look at the lineups. Both lineups were set correctly. I just want to talk about it for the viewers that aren't you because this is important. So both lineups are good in this case. We've got speed at the top. We're alternating righty-lefty. And if you have a switch hitter, he's probably best in the 8-hole or the leadoff spot. This is okay, though, because you're kind of sandwiching him between righties because you only have 3 lefties in your lineup. This could be maybe a little better, but it's fine. Like, both lineups are good, but just for the people watching, you want speed, then power, and then you want to alternate right-left if you can. So both lineups were good. One thing I noticed that you did really well is using R3 or clicking the right stick to see previous pitch sequencing. This is something that I don't think a lot of people know about. So if you've already hit once with a player in the game and you click down the right stick when he comes to the plate, it'll show you the pitch sequence from the last at bat with that player. So it's a good way to keep track of tendencies or try to pick up on stuff. You were using it, which was good, so nice work. You also said you feel like you're a pretty good pitcher, which I would agree with. Your pitching was honestly super good. The fact that you can control Feller the way that you did was really good, considering he has low control ratings. Sequencing was good. I wouldn't change a thing pitching-wise. You are a very good pitcher. You gave up 7 runs this game, but they were on pitches that you either just miss the spot or they just put a good swing on it. I mean, it happens. That's the thing, though. If you give up 7, you can always have a chance to win if you score 8, right? So I'm going to really be focusing on your hitting in this one. I think your pitching was good. For the viewers, want to go through a couple of spots where I thought you did really well. Some things here. So this is something I talked about in the last coaching session. With cursor placement versus your opponent's pitcher being a little disrespectful with it because you really just want to throw strikes and make sure you're getting this out because it should be a free out. So I thought you did really good here, putting your cursor in spots where it's pretty hard for you to throw a ball even if you slightly miss your spot, and you end up just getting an out for free, which is how it should be when you face the opponent's pitcher. So that was really good. The last guy struggled because he was trying to get too cute and try to paint corners versus the pitcher. You really don't want to do that. And then the other thing I saw, this is super good by you. Super, super good. Very, very tiny thing, but so good. Okay, so this pitch. We're going to watch it at 1x. This is the smallest thing, but it's so good for you guys watching. Okay. Do you see how he comes in on this ball? Watch how he comes in on this ball. Oh, I went one pitch too far.
Breaking ball that time that misses out of the zone. Tried to get him to bite on that curveball, but no luck. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay. Instead of running at a straight line, he actually curls it around and comes directly behind the ball. This is exactly what I talked about in the last coaching session that I think would have prevented an inside the park home run for my opponent. So if you have the time, or if you think it's going to be an awkward angle, especially with an outfielder like Ken Griffey Jr., who is prone to bad animations, curling around directly behind the ball is one of the best things you can do to try to prevent those animations, because a lot of the bad animations come from running at an angle to where the ball is going to land. So if you can just run in a straight line behind it, you'll almost never get a bad animation. So he runs, but then he curls it up and around, right? Did you guys see that? That's super good. It's so good. It's such a little thing, but it's very important to make the right play. And like I said, especially with someone like King Griffey Jr. who gets bad animations, very, very good. All right, now I want to talk about a couple things that you did that were kind of iffy in the game, only a few things, and then lastly, we'll talk about the huge thing that's going to change the game completely for you, my man. So, 25-33. Oh, it's actually soon. Okay, so this is 0-0 game going into the 7th inning. Bob Feller has been dealing for you, and you decide not to pinch hit here. And I just wanted to say that I think this is the correct decision. Bob Feller actually has confidence to get an extra big yellow meter with analog pitching at this point in the game. So no one out leading off the inning. I think not pinch hitting here was the right call, so good job. It's not a high leverage enough situation for you to warrant a pinch hit here, really. And Bob Feller is your best pitcher that you have available, considering his confidence is so high. So, but just keep in mind your pitch count's coming up. You're around 80 pitches at this point in the game, and that's when your opponent's PCI starts to grow. So that may have been a factor of why your opponent started hitting a little better, but overall I think this is the right decision. Also, in the next inning, your opponent leads off with a double, and I really like that you didn't take Bob Feller out here. A lot of people would be quick to pull the trigger here in a tie ball game, but I really like that you left Feller in. It didn't really work out for you this game, but again, I think it's the right decision because your confidence is super, super high. You're still in the green energy. He hasn't touched Feller all game. It's only one hit. I think taking Feller out that quickly would have been a mistake for you. So just want to say this was good as well. However, as the inning goes on, he puts up a 3-bomb. You put in Kinley. Things start to get out of hand a little bit.
They draw even at 2-2.
I think the 8th is what I want. What's your energy at now? Okay, here's where I want. So sorry about that, guys. So here's a situation where I think you're mismanaging your bullpen a little bit, and it's possibly because you're a little rattled because he's put up a 5-spot this inning. But you need to have someone else in the game besides Kenley Jansen right now. Not only is Kenley in the yellow energy with low confidence, but Kenley Jansen is one of your best high leverage closing pitchers in Diamond Dynasty. And so by leaving him in instead of putting someone else in a game that's honestly low leverage 5-0 right now, you're just hurting yourself in future games because you're just lowering Kenley Jansen's energy for another game in the future. As soon as this was like 5-0 instead of 3-0, you should have just taken Jansen out because maybe he can get some outs for you next game or the game after that. And by just leaving him in here in a low leverage situation, I think you're just kind of putting him out of commission for possibly up to 2 games, and whereas you could have just put someone else in to get this last out. I know you're probably pinch hitting next inning, but I really think you should have taken Kenley Jansen out in this situation. So I hope that makes sense. Going into the bottom of the 7th, I want to look at some of these at bats. You hit a home run here, which was nice. But these were very uncharacteristic at bats for you compared to the rest of the game, and I think it has something to do with the fact that you're rattled once again. So if you feel like you're tilted or rattled, kind of just pause the game and take a minute. People have come back from 6-0 deficits in the 7th inning. It's a real thing. You can win a game that's in this situation, but in this inning you were swinging at everything. I'm pretty sure it was almost first or second pitch every at bat. So like there's swinging at the second pitch, you roll it over. Here you're swinging at the first pitch, pop it up. So like once again, I always say the person who wins most of the time is the person that takes the least amount of bad at bats. And so this is just an inning where you put together 3 consecutive, honestly terrible at bats. And it's important to know that even though it's a 6-1 game, these outs are just, or these at bats and these outs are just as important as they were in the first inning, and nothing has really changed, right? So you had a great approach at the plate. You were seeing some pitches early in the game, but as soon as you got down, you started swinging first pitch every time. Maybe you were pissed or frustrated, I don't know, but the 3 outs in the 7th inning are just as important as the 3 outs in the first inning, are just as important as the 3 outs in the 3rd inning, are just as important as the 3 outs in the 9th inning. So you kind of threw away this entire half inning, which I think was a big deal. It kind of helped your opponent swing the momentum back in his favor after giving up the solo home run. So those are pretty much all the little instances that I wanted to talk about. So now I'll go into the number one thing that you can change to make yourself better at the plate. You said you struggled tracking pitches, and it has everything to do with your PCI. And this is really exciting for you, my man, because I think it's going to help you out a lot. So I want to talk about this swing right here. So I noticed that you're starting your PCI up in the zone, and I think this is actually hurting you so much. I think starting your PCI up here is making your PCI placement so much worse than it should be. Look at this swing specifically. Okay, first of all, let's talk about why you would start your PCI up, because it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't really work in practice, at least in my experience. So starting your PCI up makes sense on paper because pitches that are up in the zone are faster than pitches that are lower in the zone. More commonly, fastballs and sinkers are thrown up in the zone as opposed to off speed. So starting your PCI up in the zone would, in theory, help you get to these balls that are up in the zone faster, and then you could react to pitches low in the zone by just dropping it because they're slower. You'll have the time to do so. But this doesn't really work, mostly because of human physics, as stupid as that sounds. So let me grab my controller here. Maybe you guys can see this. So if I'm holding the controller this way, right, and I start my PCI up, it's such an unnatural movement to try to steadily bring it down, right? By starting your PCI up, you're just asking to drop your PCI constantly, especially on pitches middle or low, especially on off-speed pitches as well, because it's such an unnatural motion to start up here and then try to smoothly go down in the zone, mostly because it catches in the middle, right? It's much easier to push through if you start low than to come down if you start up. I hope that makes sense. Not only that, but by starting your PCI up, it's not even accomplishing what you think it's accomplishing, because watch what you do in this pitch specifically. I need to slow it down. Jesus Christ. Okay. Here. Watch your PCI. He throws it right into your PCI. What do? You're late and you drop it. And this is a recurring thing for you, right? So this happened so many times this game. Let's go to 1804. This hole at bat is a great example of why putting the PCI up in the zone is not working for you.
And this is taken outside for ball 1. Checks his swing, but this pitch is right there for strike 1. The 1-1 is outside for a ball.
So like even on the pitches you're taking, it's not working, right? If we go back to that sinker, watch your PCI here. Whoops, wrong pitch. Coach, by the way. Shout out LS. And then I went too far, god damn it. This is the sinker, right? Yeah. Look where your PCI is. So like based on starting it high, you should just be able to move it over to match that pitch, but you're dropping it again. And so my suggestion to you to get to the point is that I think starting your PCI is the main reason, starting your PCI up is the main reason that you're struggling to track pitches, and the main reason that your PCI is constantly off, because starting your PCI up in the zone is causing you to drop below, it's causing you to drop below high pitches, it's causing you to drop below low pitches, it's causing you to drop below pitches down the middle. And really the only thing it did well for you was hitting low fastballs, which is ironic because you could kind of just, I saw you would just drop the barrel down on low fastballs and you would crush them. But my suggestion to you would be to leave the PCI middle, or I personally like starting it middle in so that I can just go up or down to inside pitches. I really think middle in is the best spot to start your PCI in the game. It's just my opinion, but I really think it's the best. It accomplishes a lot of the same things that you're trying to do by putting it up here, but it's safer, and you'll end up dropping your PCI below pitches a lot less. So if we finish this at bat here, because literally all these pitches honestly are good examples. Here's another high fastball. I won't go back, but you can see where your PCI was. Like, if you're starting your PCI up here, you should just be able to move it over, but it's just not working for you because you're naturally dropping the PCI. So like, this pitch in this location should be crushed in theory, on paper, based on starting your PCI up, but it's just not working because you're dropping every time. And then it's also not helping with low pitches because you didn't get all the way down on that one. So again, I could go on and on and on about this stuff. I think the last one, the big one, is all the way over here. This will be the last one I talk about, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up this session, man. I hope this was helpful for you. Like I said, it wasn't as long as the last one because there's less to talk about, which is good for you. I think you're more than capable of hitting 1,000 rating like you want to, and I think your hitting is going to improve a lot just by changing this one little thing with your PCI. So there was one at bat where he literally just threw four-seamers up the entire time, and you dropped every single time. I wish I would have labeled it.
Inside corner called to strike 1 and 2. Here he comes on a ball and 2 strikes. This is into the box. Rogers Hornsby so far 0 for 1 with a flyout. In there, 0 and 1. And this catches the inside corner. Good spot there. It's 0 and 2.
Yeah, this is the at-bat. Okay, so just watch your PCI movement this entire at-bat. All he did this whole at-bat was throw you fastballs up, which is right where your PCI is, and you just drop it every single time. Even on the pitches that you're taking, watch your PCI. Down, right? It ended up like your barrel was like right here. This is hilarious to listen to at half speed, by the way. So like, it's high, but even if it was in the zone, your barrel was still like right here, which is below. And then you drop again, and you're late. So, long story short, not to beat a dead horse, but you need to start your PCI somewhere else, because starting it up in the zone is just not working for you in the slightest. Alright, I lied. One more thing I want to talk about. This is good for anyone watching, not just you. The 8th inning, you pinch hit with Tony Gwynn. So pinch hitting with Tony Gwynn is the right decision here, but it's not for the reason that you think it is. And I wanted to talk about this because this is important when talking about win conditions. So at this point in the game, you're down by 6 in the 8th inning with 2 outs. So it's constantly, in any game, it's super important to constantly be asking yourself, if I'm going to win this game, how am I going to do so? Like identifying your win condition, right? So if you're down 6 runs with 2 outs in the 8th inning and you're going to win this game, what has to happen? Well, the guy that's pinch hitting right now probably is going to have to hit twice. So actually, in this individual at bat, you made the wrong decision, because if you were looking for just the perfectly optimized this at bat, you want to go with Duke Snider, because he's not taking Tom Seaver out, right? It's very obvious. If nothing else for pitcher confidence, he's going to leave Tom Seaver in. So for just one at bat, Duke Snider is the better pinch hitter here. But if you want to play to your win condition, which is if you're going to win this game, this pinch hitter might have to hit twice this inning, because you're going to have a massive inning to come back. Then Tony Gwynn is the right play, because if you end up in a spot where this pinch hitter is hitting again this inning, he's probably going to want to play matchups, and Tony Gwynn is much better against lefties than Duke Snider is. So super important to always identify your win condition. This is, again, a small thing in a game that's not really close, that not a lot of people think about, but it's important for me to talk about for you guys watching. So Yo Tom, again, if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry, but I hope this was helpful for you. My DMs are always open on Twitter if you have some more questions, my man. I hope you enjoy this. I hope this helps you. I hope anyone watching this enjoyed this, and like I said, if you want to get coached by me as well, hit me up on social media. I do this for free, just for YouTube content. So appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.